Good morning, honorable members. Ms. Boss, do we have a quorum to start with the meeting?
Good morning, Chair. Yes, we are good to go, Chair.
Can we flight the agenda, please? Can you broaden the slide?
Recording in progress.
Ms. Boss, can we have the agenda in its entirety on the screen?
Okay, Chair, I'll read.
Honorable members, that's the agenda before you. Can I check the support for the agenda, the adoption? Honorable Hassan?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy to move for the adoption as has been presented. Thank you.
Any seconder? Honorable Silepe?
I second the adoption of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Silepe. Honorable members and committee support staff, the officials of the department present, and our guests, a very good morning. On the 28th of February, honorable members, you will recall that we received a petition from Mr. Gavin Creighton, who is a diamond miner from the Northern Cape. And in his petition, he requested that the committee conduct an inquiry into maladministration at Alexkor. And following receipt of this petition, we invited Mr. Creighton himself to brief the committee on the matter, which he did on the 13th of May, 2025. After deliberating on his presentation, we resolved that we would first conduct an oversight visit to Alexkor in order to gain a better understanding of the entity and matters raised. Consequently, the committee undertook an urgent oversight visit to Alexkor from the 6th to the 8th June 2025. Following that oversight visit, the committee adopted an oversight report containing a number of recommendations, one of which was that the committee should proceed with an investigation into Alexkor. The report was subsequently debated and adopted by the House, and that will be the National Assembly. I must emphasize that in our recommendations, we had indicated that prior to initiating such an investigation, we would first need to be briefed by the Special Investigating Unit on the investigations they are currently conducting at Alexkor. This was necessary in order for the committee to understand the scope of the SIU's work and to ensure that the committee's investigation does not duplicate ongoing processes. The committee attempted, through my office, to secure a meeting with the SIU last year. However, they were unfortunately not available at the time. We were only able to meet with them recently, and that was on the 10th of March 2026, last week. It is against this background that today, honorable members, we will discuss, consider, and adopt the terms of reference for the investigation that we had previously agreed to undertake. I will therefore hand over to the committee support to take us through a proposed framework for the investigation after we have taken the apologies. Any apologies, Ms. Boss?
Good morning, Honorable Chair, honorable members, and the guests on the platform. I received the following apologies. Honorable Mshongo, who is admitted at the hospital, and Honorable Lorima, who won't be able to join us in this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Boss. Honorable members, we received this morning the sad news that Honorable Mshongo is in hospital, and may the good Lord be with her and she recovers as soon as possible. Honorable members, can I, with your permission, give to Mr. Maboda to take us through the draft terms of reference, with your permission? Mr. Maboda?
All right. Good morning, honorable members and everyone present in the meeting. I'll be taking you through the draft terms of reference for the proposed investigations into allegations of corruption at Alexkor. I think it's important to first spend a bit of time on the table of contents. It's because I believe it's better for the reader to understand the the table of contents for a better reading or an understanding of what is contained in the document. So section 1 of the terms of reference contains a background as clearly articulated as well by the chairperson. It provides chronological events, how we got into deciding on doing the investigation at Alexkor. So it explains that we received a petition from the petitioner, Mr. Crichton, as chairperson has explained clearly. The petitioner presented, then the 1.1 just explains that process. The petitioner presented, the committee deliberated on the petition, and then based on the deliberations, a decision to conduct an oversight visit to Alexkor before making recommendations on the petition occurred. So we did an oversight, went to Alexkor. Following that, then there was a resolution as part of the recommendations of the committee was that before the committee engages or starts with its own investigation, we must first engage with the SIU, which chairperson has alluded to that the meeting happened with the SIU on the 10th. So the first part is basically giving a background to anybody who wants to get involved. For example, if we were to invite another committee member, so the background helps them to understand who is not part of the committee. It explains to them where we started and how we got into the stage of doing investigations. So that is the background. And then section 2 deals with the actual investigation, the framework that you will use when you're conducting the investigations. So through you, Chair, when I get into section 2, I will read it word for word because it's a critical section for the committee to follow, understand, as well as agree or add, because once these terms of reference are adopted by yourselves, they will be made public. So it's going to be a committee document endorsed by yourselves, and it's going to be on the parliamentary website, sent to anyone who requests it. So that section is very important, the framework that you agree to. So 2.1 there in section 2 deals with the mandate of the committee as it relates to the investigation, objectives and purpose of the investigation, scope of the investigation, format of the investigation, which will be led by yourselves. It will be a members-led process. There will be witnesses. But I will read when I get into this section so you'll understand. I'm just giving you an idea of what is contained under there. And then there's a section on public participation. How will the public be involved in this process? That is detailed there. Time frames, how long are we going to take in doing this investigation? Resources required, 2.7, resources required for this work to be done. We need budget, community support staff, and then number 3, which is states amendments to these terms of reference. There's just one line there that says that these terms of reference will be amended anytime by the resolution of the committee. This is to say that the document will be live. So if the committee wants to make changes or additions during the process of the investigation, let's say you want to add more witnesses onto the list, you realize that after when one person was testifying, you realize that you need to call the person that was mentioned by this other witness. So this section allows for that, for those amendments to be done on an ongoing basis. And then we have section 4, which is annexure, a list of possible witnesses. Again, this is the section that the committee must really guide and agree on in terms of who must be called, but we've provided possible witnesses that could be invited. So through you, Chair, I would propose that I skip the background section, which is section 1, because the information, as I've explained, the information contained in section 1 is what members know about, is the presentation by the petitioner, the deliberation of the petition, oversight visit. Most of these documents or issues we presented to the committee. So the committee is very familiar with what is contained under background. With your permission, I will then jump straight to section 2 and read word for word the framework within which you will conduct the investigation. Chair?
Yes, proceed as such, Mr. Maboda.
All right, thanks. All right, yeah. Section 2 now is the investigation by the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources. So the mandate of the committee as it relates to the investigation, I won't read through these paragraphs as members understand the role and function of a parliamentary portfolio committee, that you are the engine rooms of oversight. You scrutinize the performance of the entities and the department under yourselves. And Alexkor is one of the entities that reports to the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources. Therefore, that mandates you to do this kind of investigation or scrutinize the performance or governance issues at Alexkor. So basically, that's how I would summarize 2.1 in terms of your mandate. And then 2.2, the objective and purpose of the investigation. The objective of this investigation is to identify the root causes of the audit disclaimers issued to Alexkor over the past 7 years, which is from 2017-2018 to 2023-2024 financial years. So this is the period that the investigation will focus on. So in particular, the investigation is to rigorously scrutinize the circumstances that led to these disclaimers, identify underlying governance and accountability failures, if any, and determine whether appropriate financial management and oversight systems were in place. Where shortcomings are identified, the committee will make recommendations aimed at strengthening the relevant areas. In addition to the above, the investigation shall assess the extent to which alleged persistent governance and accountability failures at Alexkor Limited have materially affected the socio-economic rights and economic entitlements of the Richtersveld community arising from the pooling and sharing joint venture and the deeds of settlement. The committee's investigation shall therefore include consideration of whether those responsible for governance oversight adequately protected the legitimate rights and interests of all stakeholders, including the community. 2.3 deal with the scope of the investigation. Um, the reason for the audit disclaimers have already been set out in detail in the annual audit reports issued by the Auditor General of South Africa and other independent auditors. As such, there would be limited value in revisiting those findings, as doing so would largely duplicate work that has already been undertaken by the AG. Instead, the committee's investigation will focus on understanding why the audit disclaimers were allowed to persist year after year and how this ultimately contributed to the collapse of the accountability and governance ecosystem within the Alexkor. The focus, as I've stated before, will be on the 2017 to 2020 to 2023, 2024 annual reports. The committee will interrogate the governance and the structure of Alexkor and the PJSV, oversight board structures within Alexkor, the former Department of Public Enterprises, the current Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources. It will interrogate accountability mechanisms within the broader Alexkor governance ecosystem, transparency and reporting mechanisms, failures of audit action plans, internal controls, etc. The key question for the committee is therefore why the existing accountability framework failed to intervene and rectify the lack of transparency and governance at time when it was increasingly apparent that the requirements for the Public Finance Management Act were being disregarded and the institution was deteriorating at an alarming rate. The committee seeks to test and verify some of the allegations raised by the petitioner through its investigation. The investigation aims to establish the facts, determine the validity of the allegations, and identify any underlying financial and administrative failures. Based on the outcomes of the investigations, the committee will make appropriate findings and recommendations. Where wrongdoing, negligence, or non-compliance is identified, the committee will recommend the necessary consequence management and corrective actions to ensure accountability and improve governance.
Mr. Maboda, can you
Sir?
hold on? Mr. Hank Smith, you keep unmuting your mic and it's disturbing the meeting. Can you please stop fiddling with the gadget? Can you proceed, Mr. Maboda?
Apologies.
Okay, to continue on the scope, just to clarify that this paragraph that I'll be reading now clarifies that the committee at all times must ensure that there is no duplication of what is being done in other areas of investigation, such as the SIU, etc. But let me just read it. For the avoidance of doubt, the committee's investigation is complementary to and not duplicative of the SIU ongoing proclamation-based inquiry in terms of basically about the meeting that you members had yesterday, I mean last week with the SIU. So as well as, okay, the committee's investigation is complementary to and not duplicate of the SIU ongoing proclamation-based inquiry in terms of proclamation 45 of 2021 as amended by Proclamation R254 of 2025, as well as the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. So the investigation that the committee will be conducting, it's not about these. The committee's mandate occupies a constitutionality distinct oversight lane from the SIU mandate to investigate specific acts of corruption and maladministration for the purpose of civil recovery and criminal referral. In conducting its investigation, the committee shall take care to avoid any step that could compromise, prejudice, or preempt pending civil recovery litigation before the Special Tribunal or criminal proceedings before the National Prosecuting Authority and IDEC. The format of the investigation, as I've indicated before, it will be a member-led process. The investigation will be led by the committee members of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral and Petroleum Resources as part of the committee's constitutional oversight mandate. The Standing Committee on Public Accounts may also be invited to participate in this process subject to its availability. Members will lead the questioning of witnesses and engage them on key issues aligned with the objectives and purpose of the investigation. This would be similar to the RAF investigations where members are leading the process. The chairperson will determine the sequence in which witnesses are called to give evidence and will set and enforce rules of engagement during the proceedings. Where legal issues arise during the investigation that fall outside the committee's immediate capacity, the committee may consult parliamentary legal services for guidance and support. The committee will invite persons it has identified to appear before it to answer oral questions related to the subject matter of the investigation. The committee may also invite any additional persons identified during the investigation where it is of the view that their evidence is necessary or will assist the committee in the proper discharge of its duties. This may include the calling of expert witnesses. This is why the document should be treated as live, should there be a need to add witnesses. And then witnesses and the procedure that the committee will follow when it comes to the witnesses. Witnesses may submit written evidence prior to appearing when necessary. Any invitation issued to a witness must include a copy of these terms of reference. Should an invited witness refuse to avail themselves as required, the committee may exercise its power of subpoena in terms of Section 14 2B of the Powers, Privileges, and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislators Act, the Powers Act. The committee resolves that if a witness, in the opinion of the chairperson, fails without reasonable grounds to attend the investigation voluntarily as requested, the chairperson may seek the concurrence of the Speaker of the National Assembly to subpoena such persons in terms of the Powers Act. The committee may request any records relevant to its investigation from any person in possession of such records. In this regard, the committee agrees that the chairperson, in consultation with the parliamentary legal services where necessary, as well as the committee colonel advisor and researcher, may identify records that will assist the committee in conducting its investigation and request that the holder voluntarily provide the committee with such records. Should the holder fail without sufficient cause to provide the requested records, the chairperson may seek the concurrence of the Speaker to subpoena such records in terms of the Powers Act. All witnesses, whether appearing voluntarily or pursuant to a subpoena, will be requested to take an oath or affirmation in accordance with National Assembly Rule 168, read together with Section 16 of the Powers Act. If members are of the view that a witness should be requested to appear again to answer further questions, the committee may resolve accordingly. In such instances, the committee will determine whether the questions should be posed in writing or responded to orally. All written responses must be submitted to the Secretary of the Committee under oath or affirmation in accordance with the provisions of the Powers Act. While any person may seek legal advice at their own cost, legal representative will not be permitted to participate directly in the proceedings of the investigation. The chairperson may, at his or her, or in this case, okay, let me leave it in case chairperson delegates. Let me leave her there. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, allow a witness a reasonable opportunity to consult with their legal representative during appearance before the committee. Prior to the committee's report being adopted and tabled, affected persons will be afforded an opportunity to make written representatives on the provisional findings and recommendations of the committee in line with the principle of natural justice. The chairperson will determine a reasonable time frame and format for the submission of such representations. These representations must be considered by the committee before the final adoption of its report. Public participation, how will the public be involved? Meetings of the committee will be conducted in an open and transparent manner, and where possible, broadcast on Parliament TV and through Parliament social media platform to ensure broader access to the proceedings. Moreover, evidence presented before the committee, unless deemed confidential in terms of the National Assembly rules or otherwise legally privileged, must be made available to the public through the official website of Parliament. This is to promote transparency and ensure that public has access to information relating to the committee's proceedings. Where necessary, for purposes of accommodating persons unable to travel to Cape Town or unable to physically attend meetings, hybrid or virtual meetings may be held. In addition, given the geographic remoteness of the communities mostly affected by the matters under investigation, the committee shall further consider conducting at least one dedicated community engagement session in the Northern Cape or through an accessible hybrid or virtual format specifically designed to accommodate persons who are unable to travel to Cape Town. The communications officer appointed pursuant to section 2.76 below shall, in accordance with the committee secretary and content advisor, develop a targeted outreach plan to ensure that affected community members are informed of the investigation proceedings and the mechanisms through which they may submit written representations or participate in any community engagement session. Evidence and submissions received through this process shall be formally received, recorded, and considered as part of the evidentiary record of the investigation. This approach gives effect to the obligation imposed on the National Assembly, Section 59, 1A of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa to facilitate public involvement in its oversight processes. 2.6 speaks to the time frames. Section 2.6 speaks to the time frames. The committee will conduct its investigation within a reasonable time frame with the intention of commencing the process from 12 May to 2 June 2026. The dates given here are informed by the parliamentary program starting in the next financial year, which is from April. As members know, beginning of April, there will be a recess period, I think from the 7th of April until the 20th of April. There will be a recess period. And when members come from the recess period, there is a possibility of a study tour to Canada, arriving back in South Africa in May. So the 12th of May is based on the plans of Parliament, the institution, as well as informed by the programs of the committee. So the dates are based on information before us in terms of the parliamentary program come the next financial year. Come April next financial year. And also there will be APP's budgets that committee deal with before we go on study tour, there will be budget information that must be processed by the committee. It should, however, be noted that these time frames may be amended or extended if reasonable necessary, particularly in light of changes to the parliamentary program, which may affect the scheduling of the committee proceedings. And one thing to take into account as well, like I've indicated, there may be instances where a witness is called and it implicates three other witnesses that must be added. So the possibility of extending the time frame it may always be there. So it's something that members must bear in mind. But the intention must be to stick to the deadline of 2 June. But at the back of your mind, you must have these possibilities. And then 2.7, for this work to happen, resources are needed. That is, one is budget. Although the budget has not yet been formally approved for the next financial year, which starts in April, provision has been made for the cost associated with the proceedings. Parliament had asked all committees to give cost estimates for the next financial year. So this has been provided, the investigation budget has been provided for in those estimates. However, the money, okay, this budget allocation covers catering and other logistical services required to facilitate the physical meetings of the committee. So the budget that is estimated, it yet to be submitted as well, is a normal 10,000 per committee meeting. So it's like a normal committee meeting budget. So it does not cater for a situation where a witness is unable to connect virtually or where a witness is unable to travel as well to Parliament to give witness. So there is no money set aside for witnesses. It's just for a normal committee meeting that is being allocated here. So it's something also that members must think about in terms of the budget for the investigation. And then there is a need in terms of resources, as I've explained, need for support staff to support the committee during this process. So there is committee secretary. The role of the committee secretary will be to provide procedural advice to the committee, drafting of minutes, reports, and document management. When necessary, the chairperson may request the House chairperson to provide additional support. So if there is a need for an additional secretary, then the chairperson will have to write to the House chairperson to request such support. Similarly, committee assistant will support the committee and again to provide all logistical and administrative support. As we know, as members know these roles by now. When necessary, again, the chairperson may request the House chairperson to provide additional support. And then there will be a need for content advisors and researchers. You have myself and the researcher. The content advisor and the researcher of the committee will provide the services of content and research support. This support includes analysis of information, preparation of content summaries, and drafting of the final report. Where necessary, again, the chairperson, if there's a need for additional support, the chairperson will write to the House chairperson. And then legal services, when necessary, the parliamentary legal advisor will be requested to provide legal advice and support to the committee. The legal advisor will quality assure the legal aspects of the committee's report. There is no intention of the committee having a permanent legal person in the proceedings as in the ad hoc committee, but wherever necessary, the legal services will be consulted. And then 2.7.6, communications officer and specialist and ICT. A dedicated communications officer or specialist is required to attend all meetings and be available to prepare and issue media statements and facilitate media engagements to ensure public participation. Moreover, a dedicated ICT and sound and audiovisual technician or specialist is required to attend all meetings and to provide technical support to facilitate virtual meetings. Then Section 3, amendments with these terms of reference. I spoke to this. The committee may amend these terms of reference by resolution of the committee. The document should be treated as live, as explained. Then once members agree to these terms of reference, then the chairperson will sign the terms of reference. They will be made public. And then the last one is just annexure on proposed list of witnesses. So we are dealing with from the scope of the investigation is from 2017, 2018 financial year. So you will have an annual report with the disclaimer findings and detailing who were the board members during that time, who was the CEO, CFO, key people during that period, who was the minister, etc. And then you have another financial year, let's say 2022, 2023, you have an annual report, you have disclaimers, you may have the same board members or board members were changed, etc. So the witnesses will be identified based on what was happening during that particular financial year. So key witnesses, for example, broadly would be is possible. Okay, it would be Auditor General of South Africa and other independent auditors during the period under review. So the period under review would be the years we're working on, which is from 2017 to 2023. And then board members of PSJV, RCM, and Alexkor, and executives, just gave an example there of Alexkor during the period under review, again from 2017 until 2023. And then the South African Diamond and Precious Metals Regulator issues around PFMA during that period, if mentioned on disclaimers. State Diamond Trader as well. Contractors' representatives would also be invited. A representative of the Richardson community and Communal Property Association, including committee members engaged at various levels of the diamond value chain and organized small marine diamond miners. The purpose of their investigation would be to provide testimony on the lived impact of the governance failures on community entitlements under the PSJV and deeds of settlement. So this is just broadly without names. Members may add broadly as well in terms of possible witnesses. Following this, then the support staff would go back and draft a list names under each financial year that we believe should be called as a witness. And then the list that would draw would then come back to the committee at some point before, obviously, we go for the study tour or before the investigation start for adoption by the committee. I think that is the end, Chair. Or before I close, I would request that this section, once you've adopted the terms of reference, Section 2.7 be removed because we believe it's for internal purposes. Like I said, the terms of reference will be made public. So I believe this information is for internal purposes. It may just distract the reader. So that's my proposal, Chair. I will hear from yourself. Thank you. Thank you. I'm done, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maboda. So those are the draft terms of reference, honorable members. Any take, any addition, any subtraction? I see Honorable Manye. I see Honorable Sene. I see Honorable Selepe, Honorable Ntlangwini, Yeah, those are the hands so far. Honorable Mani, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings, Chair, and greetings to the meeting. Yeah, no, firstly, I really just welcome these terms of reference. I think they've been thought through, are very comprehensive and all. Firstly, before I forget, I want to, what to call it, I want to agree with the exclusion that is being proposed, just to make sure that internal matters are not mired into public discourse, as it were. So that recommendation I would fully support. The Chair, having looked through everything here, and I must also welcome the fact that these things were circulated timelessly, so one had time to really dig deep and read. So I have just 3 omissions that I'm proposing that we consider including. The first one is that there is no explicit consequence management framework. You know, the terms of reference speak about recommendations and corrective actions, but it's silent on enforcement. So, I mean, what's missing is a clear provision, for instance, for referrals for criminal prosecutions, whether it's NPA or IDEC, civil recovery, whether a special tribunal, SIU support, blacklisting of implicated service providers, personal liability, PFMA, Section 86 offenses, stuff like that. So I think it's an omission, Chairperson, that I think needs to be addressed. And the reason I think is a problem is that the process then risks becoming another fact-finding exercise with no teeth. And I don't think that is going to help us. So here's the proposed formulation, Chairperson. The formulation I propose is that the committee shall, where evidence of wrongdoing is established, make binding recommendations for consequence management, including referrals for criminal prosecution, civil recovery, disciplinary action, and blacklisting. So that's the first one, and I can also submit it in writing if it is necessary, Chair. So that's the first recommendation. The second one, I think there are no financial quantification. There are no financial quantification mandate. You know, follow the money. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with here. The terms of reference focus on governance failures, but they do not explicitly require quantification of losses. So I think that must be quantified, Chairperson. The diamond losses, carats undervalued or diverted, revenue leakages across the value chain, community financial prejudice. And this is important because you cannot enforce accountability without quantifying damage. How do we know how much you've stolen? So how do we know how to punish you? So SIU may quantify for litigation, but Parliament must quantify for oversight and political accountability. So here's the proposed formulation for this one. The investigation must quantify the financial and economic losses suffered by Alexkor and Richterveld community, including revenue foregone through underpricing, irregular procurement, and governance failures. So that is my second one. The last one, Chairperson, missing issue which I'm proposing must come in. The last issue is that there are no personal accountability mapping. Who exactly failed? You know, this thing of saying management, the people, the board. I think the terms of reference speak broadly about systems and structure, but avoid naming the individual accountability chains. And I think, Chair, in terms of corruption in general, that is the problem because we never say you, X, Y, and Z. You had the duty, as an accounting officer or as a whatever, you had a delegated authority to do this and you failed to do this, and therefore it must be dealt with accordingly. So we need a requirement to identify specific individuals be it board members, be it CEOs, be it CFOs, be it DGs, be it ministers, if applicable. We map the decision-making responsibility and determine who knew, who acted, who failed to act. And this is important because without this, accountability gets diluted into the system failed instead of these people failed the system. So the formulation I want to propose here, as I chose on this one, is that the committee shall identify specific individuals responsible for decisions, omissions, and oversight failures that contributed to governance breakdown and audit disclaimers. Yeah. So those are my three recommendations, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mani. Honorable Senne.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to you, honorable members, and everyone in the meeting. Chairperson, let me also welcome the presentation of the draft terms of reference. I'm interested, Chair, on the measures in place to protect whistleblowers and witnesses. Are we not supposed to add that part of protecting whistleblowers and witnesses, given the nature of the investigations? Is there any clause? I'm not going to be like Honorable Mani to formulate, but my wish is for us to add an item on protection of witnesses, to avoid what is happening in other committees. Some witnesses are being killed and all that. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Selepe.
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members on the platform and support staff. Chairperson, mine is just three perhaps demand regarded additional. With regards to the witnesses, I just want to check or propose that to identify the possible community witnesses that might be identified to appear. I think that one, if maybe it can be done timelessly so that they can be prepared to appear physically. I think remotely, at some point we might have challenges in getting or having a witness on a virtual platform. It might not give us what we actually want to get, the possible answers that we might need. I think it can be better if one can be prepared timelessly so that the resources may made available, especially for the community ones, because we know they might not have anything or any means for them to come to Cape Town. But if that can be prepared timelessly, then maybe Parliament can do something for the witnesses of such. Two, with regarding the budget, Chair, just an opinion of that. The Standing Committee and Public Accounts Committee, can they also avail their budget so that as this thing gonna be conducted jointly with this committee, their budget to be made available to assist the proceeding of this investigation? Then the last one, the amendment that I would propose so that can be put there is a lifestyle audit of individual of the management that is implicated on this Alexkor. If we can amend the lifestyle audit for the individual, then thank you very much, Chairperson. That was my submission.
Thank you, Honorable Selepe. Honorable Ntlangwini.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to you, to members of the committee and staff members. Mine, I want to fully agree with Honorable Sina in terms of whistleblowers, that we ought to put something, maybe perhaps for the protection or whistleblowers or anyone that wants to give us information, the protection thereof. And I think in the presentation they did mention as well to the part if anyone are not willing to come to the committee or want to work out like Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, the committee is protected by the rules of parliament to deal with such people. So I am comfortable with that part also being put in. And then further on, we support the terms of reference, Chair, and then let's the work start. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mtangwini. Honorable Hassan Duma.
Thanks very much, Chair. Just a couple of things. Let me also appreciate the document. I think it is very comprehensive, and we want to appreciate the research team as well as our content advisor, Sibu, for taking the time to really go into that level of detail. And I think that's really, I think, a really positive thing, because a lot of our additions are really just, supplementing a very strong element as well. I want to start on one matter that I think is somewhere in the document, where we talk about not replicating processes. So last week we had a presentation from the SIU, and they took us through their investigation and the scope of it and what they're doing. And they went into quite a level of detail, which is still an ongoing investigation. Yes, there it is. Thank you. Which is quite a detailed explanation. I think they even have an entire forensic team who's in the process of quantifying the loss in terms of rand and cents, the undervaluing of diamonds. And you'll recall, I even asked some of these questions last week of the SIU, who sort of answered to say they are in the process of doing that, and they putting it all together so that they can understand. And I think there was a term, I think they gave us a ballpark figure in the billions of the amount of money that's been lost. So what I'm saying is I don't want us to repeat those processes. What we must do is there must be synergy between them. So the reality here is that we don't have the kind of capacity as a PC committee that the SIU has in terms of forensic investigations and the expertise involved. So I'm suggesting that we allow that to unfold and we support the SIU process. Like I say, they can feed into each other, but perhaps we can say something along the lines that, we're going to continue to support the SIU process and cooperate with them. And then we, as the portfolio committee, will play oversight over the recommendations that the SIU comes up with. So we can find a way, Chair. I don't know how far exactly the SIU is in that process, but we can find a way to look at those recommendations and say, right, going forward, Alexkor, this is what the SIU has said. What are you doing in terms of X, Y, Z? So I thought that's just important. And a similar issue on the lifestyle audits. I think SSA and the others have the kind of capacity to actually carry out those. I don't know what the limitations are in terms of our expertise, but I do know there's some limits in terms of the forensic investigation. So I'm just saying we must have terms of reference that we can achieve, but number two, we actually don't work in silos here. So the SIU is going to find more things than we would. And for us, it's about the public participation element, it's the oversight element over the department, etc., etc. So I think we just need to find a way to balance that. I fully support the suggestion on protecting whistleblowers. I think it's an excellent idea, and I think we need to really highlight that. And then also, Chair, just as a side note, we know that the president in his most recent SONA had spoken about the whistleblowing bill that will be coming to parliament to protect whistleblowers. And I think it's quite important that we start setting the right precedent. And in fact, it should have been done in the past. So I fully support that. And then the last point, Chair, I want to appreciate is the inclusion on the impact of governance failures on the community. I mean, we're not just doing this investigation for the sake of, an investigation. We're trying to understand what the impact has been of the governance failures of Alexkor on people. We've been there. We've seen the dire state that people are living in. I'm talking about the community en masse, while a handful are being enriched and doing okay. And so what I'm fully in agreement in, I think it's under public participation. I think it might be 2.5. I could be wrong on the numbering, but I fully support the notion that we should go back to the community as part of a community engagement session where we really take them through some of the work that we've been doing in terms of investigation and hear directly from them. It's really bringing it back home. It's not just that Alexkor has had a collapse in governance and accountability. It's that, yeah, there it is. I think that's the paragraph I was looking for, given the geographic remoteness. Thank you. It's not just that the governance collapse and the accountability collapse, it's actually what it's meant for people on the ground. And it's the fact that Alexkor has been mismanaged, and that has had a much broader impact on the greater community, and even to some extent the town of Port Nolloth. But that's the one that I'm less worried about. I'm more worried about the rural communities in Alex Bay and the surround. So I really just want to appreciate that, and I hope that we can do justice to the community in this process, but also in the same way have a meaningful investigation that can come up with something that can fundamentally, hopefully, change things at Alexkor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mufokeng.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, honorable members and support staff. Chairperson, I have only one clarity-seeking question regarding public participation. If public inputs raise new allegations outside the terms of reference, I would like to know, Chair, will the committee immediately expand the scope or ignore them? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. I will allow Mr. Maboda to come first before I have a say on the matters raised. Mr. Maboda.
All right. No, Chair. I think it's comments which are enhancing the document more than anything. Much appreciated, honorable members. With the suggestions of Honorable Manyi, I think yes, they are contained in the document, but broadly, not specific, as you said. If you could please, as you suggested you will do so, send us those formulations. It would be useful. So otherwise, great input there. So it's going to be useful for us in the document. Thanks. And then Honorable Senate, the whistleblowers, yes, we will insert a bullet point that speaks to that and the protection of witnesses. Honorable Selepe, about the community, the section that Honorable Hassan has spoken to, the geographic remoteness, etc., speaks exactly to your point. How the committee goes about involving the community, it's up to the members. Remember, I indicated that the document is live. So my advice would be, if the committee wants to engage the community of Alexander Bay, a form of oversight visit would be practical. So go there the committee conducts an oversight to Alexander Bay, meet with the community. At what point of the investigation is also up to the members. Either that is done at the end of the investigations or before the investigations. So that will be determined by the committee. And then in terms of budget, Honorable Slepe, you spoke about SCOPA. There is an emphasis in the terms of reference that the committee may invite SCOPA depending on their availability. So the committee is not conducting this investigation in partnership with SCOPA. SCOPA can be invited. This is because I think initially the statement was, the sentence read as in partnership as one of the resolutions of the committee under the background. The committee will conduct investigation in partnership with SCOPA. But because we are dealing with annual reports, which this committee deals with on a yearly basis, the BRRR process. So you deal with annual reports. So this committee is equally capable of interrogating the disclaimers in the annual report. However, SCOPA, because they deal specifically with financial issues, public accounts, so they may be invited. So they are not it's not in partnership, they will be invited. So the argument of getting budget from their side that wouldn't work in this instance because of they may participate. And then the lifestyle audits, this was part of the oversight report recommendations that the minister must ensure that lifestyle audits are conducted at Alexkor. So we have sent an email to the department to respond on the recommendations on the oversight reports of Alexkor. So the response on the recommendations will determine on what is happening. So have they started with this lifestyle audit? What is happening, etc. So timeframes were given in those recommendations. So yeah, the responses will determine this, but I don't think it would make part of it would be part of these terms of reference. It may be a finding, a consequence management finding, if you find something along these lines while you are doing this investigation. And then yeah, the issue of whistleblowers is covered. Yeah, no, yeah, Chair, everything is covered. Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think I covered everything. Otherwise, it's just the information is enhancing the document more than anything. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Maboda. Honorable members, let me take this opportunity to thank you for enhancing this document. Really, what Honorable Mani is coming with may be a matter of guarding against the overlaps and so forth. But as he submits those carefully framed sentences that he wants addition to, the team will look at it and see whether is there harm or overlap or duplication with what the SIU is doing, and then we can take it from there. I think in general, we are agreeing that these terms of references are in line with what we ought to do. I don't know, Honorable Slepe, when I summarize, you come, and then what will become of my summary? Can you come now?
My apologies, Chairperson. I think Honorable Fukeng had the clarity seeking questions was not answered, Chair. I'm sorry if I missed it.
No, I'm coming to that as well. I was just appreciating that we have made a contributions that I think are in line with what we are doing. As Honorable Mr. Maboda has said, this is a living document. As and when we go, Honorable Slepe, Honorable Mfukeng, we will agree as the committee on what should be expanded as a scope and what shouldn't be. So it's not a train smash, but we'll guard against opening up for change of reference on a daily basis when we meet, because it will distract the work that we will be doing. So it's a flexible document, but not so flexible because it must also guide us not to veer off the road that we are taking. Honorable members, the issue of budget, my office will be writing to the Speaker. You will remember Mr. Creighton wrote this petition to the office of the Speaker, and it was referred to us as a committee. We are writing a letter to the Speaker seeking clarity on what becomes of the budget to deal with this referral from the office of the Speaker to us. We did look with the team at the fact that there is a new committee in Parliament called Petitions, which from now on, issues like this will go directly to that committee, and that committee will have its own budget. But unfortunately, it will be injustice to the community and the petitioners if we hand it over now to a committee that was established 2 weeks ago, because they will have to start afresh, understand what has been going on, and so forth. So we thought, let's write to the speaker, get clarity and negotiate what becomes of our budget. So I would really ask members to give that opportunity for us to interact and get clarity on the budget. Honorable members, with the possible additions that were made and your comments and strengthening the document, can I move for the adoption of the terms of references?
Yes,
Honorable,
Chair, we're comfortable with that. Oh,
Honorable,
apologies.
Honorable, so you are moving for the adoption?
Yes, Chair, I was moving for the adoption. Apologies. I didn't realize was another hand.
Okay. Honorable Hassan Duma moves for the adoption. Honorable Mani?
Yeah, Chair, I'll second the adoption with the summary that you have done to cover the gaps. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mani. The terms of reference have been seconded. Any objection? No objections. The terms of reference have been duly adopted. Thank you very much. Ms. Boss, we're going to the minutes.
Yes, Chair, we go to minutes of 25th November 2025. I'll just share them.
Yes, please share them. Honorable members, we had a briefing on the 25th of November by the department on the cadastral system. So you'll remember we had two. We had the one that was physical, and the Canadians could not be audible enough for us to capture everything. And we had subsequently the second meeting. Let's deal with the minutes of the 25th of November. I will take them as read. Is there an issue on the minutes, honorable members? If there's an issue, you can just stop the scrolling and cite the page that you want to. Honorable Senne.
Thank you, Chairperson. I've read the minutes and I want to move for the adoption. Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Senne moves for the adoption of the minutes. Any seconder? Honorable Slepe.
Second the move of the minutes.
Honorable Slepe second the minutes. Any objection? None. The minutes are duly adopted. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next minute. Honorable Senne, lower your hand so that I know. Yes. Continue, Ms. Boss.
Okay, the next minute is the 2nd of December, where we had a briefing from the SEF group on the annual report. Thank you.
Can you scroll, honorable members? Again, I will treat it as read. Any one to adopt the minutes? Any issue about the minutes? Honorable Hassan?
Thank you, Chair. I've looked at the minutes and I'm happy to move for the adoption as a true reflection of our discussions on the 2nd of December. Thank you.
Honorable Hassan Duma moves for the adoption of the minutes. Any seconder? Honorable Mofuke?
Thank you, Chairperson. I second the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Honorable Mufokeng.
Apologies,
Yes.
Honorable Mufokeng tendered an apology that day, so he cannot second the
Oh,
minutes.
my apologies.
Can we go to the register? Just to make sure. Yes, Honorable Mufokeng, you cannot second the minutes. Can I look for another seconder? Can you lower your hand, Honorable Mufokeng? Honorable Tlangwini?
I second, Chair.
Honorable Tlangwini second the minutes. Any objection? None. The minutes are duly adopted. Next set of minutes.
Next one, Chair, is the 3rd of December. I'll just fly it cadastral system, the virtual one. Thank you.
Honorable members, you remember we had a follow-up on the cadastral system. I will treat the minutes as read. Can I move for the adoption of the minutes? Honorable members, Honorable Senne.
I will move, Chair, for the adoption of the minutes.
Honorable Senne moves for the adoption of the minutes. Can I get a seconder? Honorable Mufokeng.
Chairperson,
Honorable Mufokeng.
I second the adoption of the minutes as presented. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mufokeng seconds the adoption of the minutes. Any objection? None. The minutes are duly adopted. Do we have the last set of minutes? Is it the last one or we have
Yes, Chair,
more?
the next one is last week one, the 10th of March.
Yes. Can you scroll down? Honorable Mufokeng, lower your hand. Honorable members, those are the minutes. I'll take them as read. Honorable Slepen.
I move for adoption of the minutes as presented. Thank you.
Honorable Slepen moves for the adoption. Any seconder? Any seconder, honorable members?
I second, Chair.
Honorable Tlangwini seconds the adoption of the minutes. Any objection? None. The minutes are duly adopted. Are there other issues, Ms. Boss, on the agenda?
No, Chair, that was the last agenda item on the minutes, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have announcements if there are?
No, Chair, I don't have any announcement except to say we submitted the application for the study tour. We are waiting on the response. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, let me take this opportunity to thank you for the job well done on the terms of reference. It's very important that people who look at Parliament as the last resort are satisfied with the work that we do. We do the work diligently. We inspire confidence to our people. And they must not have any doubt that when they turn to Parliament, they will not get joy. Of course, there will be people who write to Parliament, you give them responses, they don't like the responses. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. It's part of the work. Others will like what you do, others won't. But we strive to make sure that everybody who turns to Parliament for help gets the joy. I want to thank you very much for for that. Allow me, honorable members, to declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Long live the chair.
Long live.